Hopefully your answers.
G'day, Kato, mate.
I'm very well in yourself, mate.
Good day, good thanks.
Excellent. So I just gave you this massive intro. Um, and everyone's waiting with bated breath to hear what you got to say. But now I was just letting them know the caliber person you are, the fact that you're prepared to step up out of your comfort zone and make a difference,
Yeah.
improve the standard. So thanks again for making the time to chat to us.
No,
Um,
you're right, mate. I'm just pulled over on the side of the road, actually, so hopefully you can hear me all right.
no, you're coming through loud and clear, man. You found a good spot, so it's all good. Just for the people that don't know you, we've got a couple of new blokes that don't know you. Can you give us the quick overview of who Duayne Pearce is and what you do?
From when I started,
Oh yeah. From when you started, how did you get into building, and then what are you sort of where you're at now?
mate, just quickly, I always wanted to be a builder. Couldn't get an apprenticeship, so I worked in a truss and frame plant when I was 15 for 2 years. Um, by the time I left it, I was running the cutting shed, and I was only 17 years old. But I ended up getting an apprenticeship, so I took that on. Um, as you know, I'm not a person that likes being told what to do. I didn't finish my apprenticeship. I did 2 years with one guy and a bit over a year with the second guy. Just the two guys was more to get a different experience at different types of work.
Mm.
But the guy that I finished my time with, he he was a fairly large developer in Brisbane doing a lot of townhouse development. So he knew that I'd sort of left the guy that I was working for. My old boy was actually working, my old man was a quite a large painting contractor at the time. I actually went painting for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, Tom came and seen me and said, mate, I've seen your work. I know what you can do. If you put a few boys together, you can do some of my work. So I teamed up with another bloke. We put in an apprentice. I was only not quite 20, or a bit over 21, I think, at the time. And mate, we smashed his work out for about 2 or 3 years to a point where like we grew and he didn't grow fast enough, and we ended up taking on. Well, I actually split up with the guy I originally started with and went out on my own. Just very quickly, so over a 7-year period, we did all subcontract work, and in the end, towards the end, we had, I think at one stage we had 54 carpenters working for me.
Wow.
And I did that, and in that sort of last few years of that, I got my builder's license, and then once I had enough experience for them to sign off on my builder's license, I completely gave the carpentry away and just went straight out building. But I'm pretty lucky, Kurt, that I've never, if I haven't been able to do something or I don't know how to do something, I've always spoken to someone or paid someone that can. So like we grew pretty quickly, and then we were pretty consistent with it. So I've been building now. This is our 10th year.
Mm-hmm.
Been fairly consistent. Like everyone, we've had a lot of problems over the years, like problems that we thought weren't our fault and was more the clients. But as you know, we've definitely changed our tune on that. And I'm a big believer that builders are completely creating their own problems. But we've definitely put things in place now that have got rid of all of that, and we're charging forward.
I love it, man. I love that. One of the most important parts of leadership is taking responsibility, and responsibility equals freedom. The more responsibility you take, and also sourcing out people who know what it is that you need. For sourcing information from the right people to accelerate your results without having to figure it out yourself. It's amazing how many people don't do that. They won't put their hand up and they just stay where they are because they're too proud to go and find someone who can help them. So
no, definitely. I think there's a lot of especially older school guys in the industry that just think they know everything, and and aren't willing to take responsibility and learn. And I think that's why they get stuck in a rut and they have so many problems. And then obviously all the new guys coming through just see how they're doing things, so they don't know any different.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what we're dealing with now. And I suppose the whole, I want to touch on Builders Unite and what sparked that before we talk about rules of the game too, because that's part of breaking out of that mold, that old school mold that is like a hangover from previous generations, where young blokes come in and in their defence, they don't know any better because they're just following the guys in front of them, a bit like sheep or cattle, a cattle mentality. But it needs to change because the world, the rest of the world is changing very rapidly, and so does the building industry, and it is just in small pockets. So. So tell us, let's transition into Builders Unite because that's something that's new. So tell us a bit about that. What inspired that, and what's the purpose behind Builders Unite? What are you trying to achieve there?
Mate, I'm a very like I said, I listen and I talk to anyone and everybody. But up in Brisbane, there's probably I don't know between half a dozen builders that I don't know, but we get on fairly well, and I talk to probably 3 or 4 of them quite regularly, and it definitely since working with you and having been able to speak to builders all over the country, it definitely helps with any business, people being able to talk to each other, and because at the end of the day we all have the same problems. But Builders Unite's about just getting everyone. I think everyone needs to work together. I'm really annoyed. I think the building industry is very old-fashioned. I think every builders think they need to compete and fight against each other and undercut each other. There's miles and miles of work out there, and if everyone's doing the right thing, there's enough work for all of us. So I think if we can all work together as a massive group, we can achieve a lot more, and we can start changing the industry and changing the mentality of builders.
Absolutely, yeah, and it'll benefit not only the builders but the clients and everyone associated with the industry as well. And look, at the end of the day, it's about raising standards, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other big thing I'm sick of is people thinking that they need to go to designers and architects first. Like the project builders or the builders that are smashing out large quantities of very simple homes, like they've got it down pat. So like all of us other guys need to take a lesson from them, and we need to take control, and like we need to be the first point of contact, and then we need to guide them through the process, and like stop having this thing where architects, designers are number one and the builders just underneath, and we have to deal with all the shit.
So that's that's one of the 3 things that Builders Unite's really trying to change, isn't it? So the first is getting builders to use preliminary agreements, charge for quotes, and the other is getting the clients to getting the architects, designers to work for you, and then thirdly to get builders to charge what they're worth.
The big one is education, like educating clients and like not only that, architects and designers, and then like you say, getting everybody on board with preliminary agreements. If everybody's doing it, then it'll become a standard thing. People won't know any different. But overall, just like I want to make builders number one. Like we have more responsibility and risks than any other profession out there. So like unless we step up and join together as a group and start acting as a group and educating people, then it's not going to change.
So educating people is a big thing, and I know, like you've expressed to me, how pissed off you are with the level of ignorance around the country with most builders. With no disrespect to anyone, it comes back to the standards. Some guys have just allowed themselves to become really lazy in terms of the standards, or where they play it. So that there's no surprise that there's not a lot of respect for builders, I suppose, because of that. Because guys are either just lazy or they have no desire to raise the standards for themselves. Take more responsibility, improve their systems and their processes, so that people look at them and go, "Wow, this guy's really professional and organised." And you obviously, hey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I think it just all flows on that we're such an old school, like the chippy's been around forever. Like that's and it's like every other industry out there has changed with technology and got better systems and better technology in place, and the building industry has really lacked and fallen behind. So we're all about trying to change that.
So, part of that, I mean, we obviously had these conversations earlier in the year, and Rules of the Game was born out of that. And on the 8th of July, we had that event. So, tell us a bit about that. What was it like presenting that workshop? And obviously, that was about educating builders. So, what was your sort of your purpose, and what did you cover off? Because we've got the second one coming up now as well, obviously on the 28th of October.
Mate, that's obviously something that you were right behind what I was doing, and you got behind me and made me put it together. But look, how that come about, like 2014, we had the worst year ever. Like we had in the year we actually had 5 bad clients, but 3 of them were the worst clients you've ever dealt with. One of them in particular, not only myself, but most of my trades agreed that he wasn't only the worst client we'd ever had, he was the worst person we'd ever met.
Sorry, man. I don't know if it's too soon, but
it was just like it nearly ended up in punchlines a couple of times on site. I blamed those clients for that, but like it got to a point by the end of 2014 where I hated it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was looking for another job. But just being the person I am and not letting people down, we had some good jobs that we'd been pricing on, and they started coming through. And like I just made a promise to myself, my wife, and my team that we would put systems in place and run the business better, so we never had to deal with that ever again. And from that, I started putting an information session together for clients because I thought it was Sorry, mate, do you hear that?
Yeah, you still there? What was that?
They're doing the practice flyover in the fighter jet for the river fight tomorrow night.
Wow, is that what that was? A fighter jet?
Yeah, 2 fighter jets just flew over the top of me.
Jeez.
So yeah, and then while doing that, it was like a light bulb moment. I understood that all builders are creating our own problems, and we don't actually completely understand the contracts we're using.
Just sorry to interject and stop you there, but you just explained that one of your clients was not only the worst client you've ever had, but the worst person you've ever met, and you had someone else back that up. At what point did you look at yourself and then decide that you need to make changes and take responsibility for yourself? Because I'd imagine most people would look at him and think, well, this guy's the worst person we've ever met in our life. It's all his fault. How did you turn it around and start looking at yourself and your contracts and what you're doing? I mean, that's a pretty big call.
Well, mate, while putting this information together, that I wanted to start teaching clients, and part of that was educating them on the contract. And I've been to Master Builders or HOA and heaps of industry seminars over the years, and they drum it into you that you have to use a contract. And even in my own office, my accounts girl Sharon, she's been with me for 10 years. My wife, they were into me all the time. When situations come up, you've got to follow the contract, and we'd have a quick squiz at it, and I thought we were, but once you actually it's as boring as anything. But whatever contract any builder's using, I'll never I don't think it matters whatever you use. You'll never completely understand it because they're extremely difficult. But we use the Master Builders one, and I've probably read that 20 or 30 times down back to front. And while reading that, even the very first time I actually sat down in my office on a weekend and read it front to back, that was a light bulb moment. I was like, man, if I had to run the job, when situations come up and dealt with it through the clauses in the contract, I could have taken control of that bloke. And even though he was a horrible person, I could have taken control. But in the end we lost control, and he just ran all over us. And there's so many clauses in the contract that I could have used. I could have emailed him. I could have pointed things out. We could have charged him and just taken back control, and it would have put him in his place. So that's probably the quickest rundown I can give you on that.
Yeah, no. So obviously the rules of the game on 8th of July in Brisbane was very well received. The feedback was great from everyone that was there. They could see the value. And what's transpired since then? Have you had other feedback from builders, and have you had any learnings or other changes that you've put in place since then?
Mate, well, the feedback was, like, I was a bit overwhelmed on the day, and I was extremely nervous, as you know, speaking in front of that room full of people. But and I felt the more the day went on, the more nervous I got, because no one was asking questions, and when I asked questions, people really weren't getting involved, and I thought, man, what's going on here? But I got really overwhelmed at the end of the day, because, like, after we'd finished, as you know, like, pretty much the entire room stayed back for near on 2.5 hours asking questions. So I think a bit of it was a few people were probably a bit embarrassed to ask questions in front of everybody.
Yeah.
But the feedback over the next, well, even it's still going now, like text messages, emails, phone calls, like some of the responses from a couple of guys were they've been building for 30 years, and it was the best day, the best session they'd ever been to, the best money they'd ever spent on their business. So to have that sort of feedback from blokes that have been doing it for 30 years, I thought was incredible.
Yeah, fantastic, man. No, congratulations. It's what I like to call complete game changer, and it's interesting because who would have thought, diving deep into the contract was going to be the solution to eliminating all these client issues, all these inefficiencies that just burn up hundreds and hundreds of hours, because that's ultimately what happened. I mean, can you talk about the results? Like, since you've implemented these changes, since you've started educating your clients on the contract, what has it done for the jobs?
Mate, our jobs now, like they're a pleasure to our clients. Like, we've just wrapped up one that was another difficult client, but because as soon as anything come up, didn't matter what it was, like, we just referred straight back to the contract. We had him under control. But even since the rules of the game on the 8th of July, like, it's a ball that's just getting faster and faster. Our business is just getting better and better. We're refining processes. We're putting more processes in place. We're like lots and lots and lots of checklists. But the biggest thing is, it's not just about me understanding the contract, and we always knew that. And it's not only your office staff, but it's all of your staff. If all of your staff, and including your subcontractors, and it's hard. Like, most of your subcontractors wouldn't have a clue about the contract that the builder uses. But it's education right through the entire team, and once you do that and you start getting things in place to deal with that, like, my entire team, including my subbies, I can honestly say they're the happiest they've ever been. Everybody's getting on. They're taking ownership of things. I was just telling you yesterday, like, my two supervisors, like, I'm just over the top. Like, I think the control that they've taken, and you can just see it. They're happy. It's almost like it's their business. So it's changed. It's really changed their entire business. Our profits are up. It's all good.
No, that's incredible. And you've also, you've obviously, besides putting more systems in place and checklists and that, like you mentioned, you've grown your team quite significantly as well. I mean, yesterday you're saying to me it might even be a little top heavy right now, but you're comfortable that, with where you're going, it's going to be fine. But what are some of the most significant team changes you've made just recently since the 8th of July?
We started a new young guy yesterday, which he's a first year uni student. He's doing a contract administration course, so he wants to get some on-site experience and learn the ropes. So I think that's a really good one for us. Like we'll and a lot of those types of guys mainly get to learn on big commercial jobs. So I think having someone learn more about the residential side of it is pretty exciting, and a very good opportunity. But not like the staff that we had in the office, like a couple of the ones that we had, were only getting in 2 days a week, and now doing 3 or 4 days a week. But it's top heavy because of other things that we're working on. So I've just seen a massive lack in technology in the entire industry. So we're working on some pretty exciting stuff. So we do at least sort of once a week now. Actually, it's almost at the moment every couple of days. All of us in the office, at least once a week, we get the supervisors in, and we just all chat about everything in general, and like that's really, really helping the business. It's helping our ideas. Where instead of one person trying to just nut things out, everybody's putting input in, and it's really working well.
I can see how that'll motivate the team as well. So you've got a bit of a think tank happening with everyone, and they feel like they're a part of this exciting journey that you guys are on.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it's education with them as well. Like I don't think, as much as my accounts lady has always drummed it into me to follow the contract, I don't think she actually ever got a full understanding of how difficult things are on site. So the whole team is educated now, and like not everyone has to know the exact details of everything, but they've got a lot better overall understanding of every aspect of the job. So when we all sit around and have discussions, it's really good to get people's input in, even though they're not working in a particular area. Like the feedback can change your ideas and the way you're doing things.
That's amazing. I mean, most guys would appreciate and understand the benefits of getting everyone together to talk about their different roles in the business and how to improve efficiencies. But the fact that you're doing that almost weekly is profound, yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely with the supervisors, we're doing it more. But like in the office, and it's definitely not planned. Quite often over the last couple of months, something will come up randomly, and like one of us will just be like, all right, just hang on a sec, but everybody got half an hour, and we just nut something out. Like it's working, it's going really well.
No, excellent. Now the Brisbane home show was just over a week ago. Tell us about your experience there and what you got up to with building your knowledge, because that's an offshoot of the rules of the game and educating clients.
Yeah, so I finished the information session for clients, and we've called that "Build Your Knowledge Before You Build Your Dream," and it's all about educating the public on the entire process from the very beginning. So it's trying to change their mind, make sure they talk to builders first, and then the builder can guide them with architect, designers, right through choosing the land, the bank, like making sure they understand what the bank requirements, the contract, and like explain to them clauses in the contract, right through to once the job starts, the process on site, the handover, and then explaining to them what defects are and the warranty periods. And so we went to the home show purely to market that, and it went really well. We were flat out for 3 days. We got some really good leads out of it actually for the building, which we weren't planning on. But most of those leads were while people were coming up and asking us what we were actually doing, and when we were explaining to them that we're trying to, like, my goal is for people to go to a barbecue, and when because you go to a barbecue now, you ask someone if they've built before, and they'll tell you it was shit, they never want to do it again, they hate the builder. Well, a lot of them will.
Yeah.
But my goal is to have every client like our clients. Like you ask them if they build or how their job's going, and they go, "Oh, it's fantastic. Look, I want to sell it and do another one." So so those leads from the home show, when we were explaining what we're trying to teach to people, people that weren't walking into our stand intending on getting us to quote a job would pull their plans out of their bag and go, "Oh, like that's awesome! Like, would you mind quoting our job for us?" So we've ended up with 5 potential jobs out of it. One of them's already signed and paid a preliminary agreement, and we got 2 that I reckon we'll probably pay and sign next week.
That's fantastic, man. Now, you had your first meeting as well for clients, right? Your first client education, build your knowledge session. Tell us about that. How many people turned up, and what was the outcome?
Mate, so we put it out there. We wanted to obviously trial it before we marketed it. So we just put an ad just out to our Facebook page. So didn't push it heavily, and it was only out for about 10 days. So we didn't even boost it. So it didn't cost us any money. We put it on our Facebook page for I think it was 10 or 12 days. We ended up getting 20 people booked, but only ended up with 14 coming. Like 2 people emailed the day of it and said they couldn't make it. But we ended up with 14 people in the room. It went extremely well. Everyone.
Where did you run it, Duayne? Where was the meeting held?
So we just hired a little tiny cafe for a couple of hours from 6 till 8:30. I think it was on a Tuesday night. We just put on tea and coffee. We had a few beers there, and they made some finger food for us. So I think it cost me about $800 to have it. Like I said, we got 14 people. It went really well. Everyone really appreciated being able to ask a builder just open questions. Like there was absolutely no intent on us trying to get work out of that. I told that to them right at the start. And mate, we've ended up with 5 leads out of that. 2 of them will come through. One of them's just waiting to buy a house to renovate. One of them's looking for a block of land. We've got 2. One I'm meeting tomorrow. One I'm meeting next Tuesday night. And we had another one that signed a preliminary agreement this Tuesday, and is all going ahead for $1 million job.
Wow, that's impressive, man. So potentially 5 jobs, but at least 3 that sound like they're pretty much in the bag.
Mate, I'm 100% we'll get 3 out of that. Like whether or not they'll go ahead, but they're all. I'm 100% confident we'll get 3 paid preliminary agreements out of that $800 session.
And that's obviously beyond what you expected. So that now becomes potentially one of your best marketing strategies, I suppose, because you've got, if you can get, one a month where you've got, 15 or 20 people in the room, that would keep you busy for a very long time.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, for sure. And I definitely didn't appreciate the people in the room. I didn't expect to get any work out of it at all. But yeah, one of them, like I said, one of them's turned out to be $1 million job. And just with that one in particular, Kurt, that one, there's an architect that we wanted to do some work with for a while. We're on his tender list for a couple of big jobs that are coming up. So, and we've been having a few issues with some of the other guys we're working with. And as it turned out, he had a stand at the home show, and over the 3 days we had a lot of conversation. And he thinks what we're trying to do with educate clients is amazing. He agrees with us that the builders should always be involved in the design process to keep things on budget.
Yep.
So when these people come back 2 weeks, a couple of days after the home show, and said they wanted to move forward, and because I'd already educated them about preliminary agreements, they asked me to bring the preliminary agreement to the meeting. So I introduced them to Will, and Will's actually lowered his percentage for his part of the job because I'm going to be helping him at all the meetings, making sure the job stays on budget. So he's actually lowered his architect's percentage by 4%.
Unbelievable. And he volunteered that on his own.
He completely volunteered that. He reckons that what we're trying to do and the education is, and he knows, he saw us at the home show. He knows what we're offering. yeah, that was completely off his own bat. He said that to me. He goes, mate, because of how you've educated the client and because you're going to be involved right from the beginning and helping keep it on budget, he goes, that saved me a lot of time. And he didn't tell me at the start. I didn't actually know what he was going to properly see until we had the meeting with the client. And yeah, when he pulled his fee proposal out, he said, oh, look, I've actually taken 4% off because Duayne's involved.
So I reckon that could be the fourth arm to Builders Unite. So charge for quotes, charge what you're worth, get builders to get the architects to work for them, and then get the architects to lower their margins.
We can only hope, but that'd be awesome.
Well, it's crazy that that's happened just organically. He's come to you and said, let me drop my margin for you out of respect for what you're doing. That's just phenomenal. There's a question here from John. He just wanted to ask, have you had any issues with increasing your warranty insurance?
Mate, no, we haven't. We've had to increase it a couple of times over the years, but we've never had any problems. I think they've actually made it a lot easier. Like in the last 12, 18 months, they've changed the rules. Or in Queensland, they have anyway. They've changed the rules.
Yeah.
I actually think it should be a lot harder to get it, but they seem to just lift people's limits quite easily.
Okay, cool. Hey, last time we spoke, you had a story about paying $5,000 to cut someone loose and say no to someone, right? Have you had any other situations like that, or what's your process for saying no to people now? Because you're probably going to need to do more of that as you grow and you become more successful.
Mate, I definitely don't hesitate anymore. But the one that we said no to was a difficult one. It actually was the brother of my neighbours, which I'm very good friends with, and it was a referral. Yeah, we mucked around for a good 5-6 months, backwards and forwards. We actually put a contract in place, and they paid a deposit. And then in sort of the 5 or 10 days after we'd signed the contract, he sent a massive list through and wanted to change all the clauses in the contract. And we got advice from lawyers and solicitors and everybody, and there was no way in the world we were going to change the clauses. So it dragged on for 2 or 3 months, and in the end, like it cost us money. It all had to go back through the QBCC. We had to get stat deck signed. It was a real pain in the bum. It cost us about $5,000, but it's the best decision I've ever made. And then through that, the builder that they ended up going and working with, it was a big extension, lift the house, building underneath. Mm-hmm. The job only went for about a month. And it got into some pretty bad arguments. That builder had actually way underquoted the job. He went broke. There's now quite a big legal fight going on because, obviously, I'm hearing back through my neighbour. But I couldn't believe it. Like at rules of game 1, Rob from Ram Construction, we were just chatting about bad clients, and he goes, "Oh, you're kidding me? Like before I'd got involved, he had got screwed over on the same job as well." This is another thing to do with Builders Unite. Like builders need to talk. Like if you've got a bad client, there needs to be a way of letting other guys know so that they don't get into trouble.
Yeah, blacklist the psychopaths out there.
Yeah, but in regards to saying no, mate, I don't hesitate anymore. As you know, like we got our questionnaire, we send people, and we just politely tell them at this point in time we can't do anything for them. So
magic, yeah.
It's not only saving us a hell of a lot of headaches and money, but the time we're saving we can spend on good jobs. Perfect, man. So rules of the game 2. What's going to be the agenda? What are you covering on that Friday, the 28th of October? Mate, definitely it'll be a lot better than the last one. Like because we've changed things since that one. Like still covering the same sorts of topics. I do I'm going to go talk about this build your knowledge thing I'm doing quite a bit, and about educating clients and designers and architects. I think that's a really big thing to get across. But not like we've had new experiences with architects and things since Rules of the Game 1, so we've implemented them into what we're going to discuss. So yeah, it'll be bigger and better.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. And I know you do have a lot of other exciting side projects that you're working on as well. So I'm sure you'll give us a bit of a glimpse into what's happening there, and we'll hear more about those as they come to light as well. Eh?
Yeah, definitely. We've got some really exciting stuff coming up. So and that's taking up a lot of time. And we've engaged an American company to help us build some programs and apps to bring technology into the industry. So it's pretty exciting.
I love it. Fantastic, man. Well, I know some of the guys on the call are going to be catching up with you next Friday in Sydney for the next Builders Unite meeting. So that's going to be big as well. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, mate. If we can get, if everyone can tell every other builder they know, friends, family, anyone that they know that's a builder, the more we can get there, the better. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's it. Get the word out there, guys. And I know a lot of the guys listening now are going to be in the room on the 28th as well for Rules of the Game too. So really looking forward to it. And yeah, mate, thanks again for your time today. I know you're a busy man.
All good. Thanks very much, Kurt.